A very pleasant morning to all my dear children. Welcome back to English Online class of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. How are you all doing, children? I hope you all are doing great, isn't it? Yes. Okay, children, let's begin our today's session. Today, let's discuss lesson 6, similes and alterations. Similes and alteration is the last lesson of this academic year. And this is the last lesson from our Excellence in English grammar text. And I hope you remember what are simile or what is a simile, isn't it? We have studied it in our first semester poem, The Fly. I hope you still remember it. So let's discuss similes and alterations in detail. Similes and alterations are the figures of speech that is used in language. So instead of just using plain language, we can use some words or phrases that make our language decorative. And figures of speech are such words or phrases that make our language more creative, more expressive, more decorating. Okay, so these are the figures of speech. Similes and alterations are the figures of speech. Figures of speech are any words or phrases. Phrases means a group of words that are used to decorate our language, that is used to beautify our language. So let's look at them in detail. Our next topic is alteration. And alteration is also another figure of speech. It is used in language to make the language more creative, more expressive, more decorative. Okay, so we use alteration for better understanding of the readers. So what do you mean by alteration? Alteration is a repetition of the same sounds in a line. It is a repetition of the same sounds in a line. So if you take your textbook, take page number 157, they have given you 2 examples. So we will see that examples for your better understanding. The first one, on the top of tall trees. So in the first line, in the first sentence, the sound t is repeated. How? The sound t of the word top, the sound t of the word tall, and the sound t of the word trees. So we can see that the sound t is repeated in the first sentence, in the first line, and that is called alteration. Now let's look at the second example. Betty bought butter, but the butter was bitter. So, did you notice the alteration in this particular sentence in the second line? Yes. Which is that sound which is repeated? The sound b. The sound b is repeated in this second sentence. How? The sound b of the word Betty, the sound b of the word bought, the sound b of the word butter, the sound b of the word but, the sound again of the word butter, and the last one, the sound b of the word bitter. So you can see the sound b is repeated in the second sentence. Okay, now try to do the textual exercises. Exercise B. Let's look at the first sentence. I come from haunts of coot and hern. So in the first line, which all sounds are repeated? The sound k and the sound h. Both these two sounds are repeated. So sound k of the word come and the sound k of the word coot. Okay. So next look at the next sound which is repeated in that same line, that is h. The sound h is repeated. The sound h of the word haunts and the sound h of the word hern. So these two sounds are repeated in the first line. Let's look at the second line. I make a sudden sally. Here which is the sound that is repeated? Sir. Sir sound is repeated. Sir of sudden and sir of Sally. Okay. So this is how you find out the alteration in the lines given. So do the rest of the textual exercises, children. This is how you make alterations, you create alterations. So I hope you understood how to do alterations, how to find out alterations in a line. So children, do the rest of the textual exercises by yourself. So shall we wind up our session? It's time to conclude our session here. That's all for today. See you in the next session.